That's the word.
Abstracting out. Oh, I see.
Abstracting out. Yeah.
Okay.
It finally hit me. Yeah, sorry. I've been for too long in Russia. Yes, what happens today is the world is abstracting out from the traditional understanding of things. So we
Mm-hmm.
are managing things by abstractions.
Mm.
This is already happening, like we already see this happening in IT, the production of services, right? Where
Yeah.
the software is managing the cranes, the belt lines, the big heavy machineries.
Yeah.
Uh, and that's what I call abstracting out. You abstract it out from actually moving the machines.
Yeah.
Now the same idea is going to happen with the gold and with the
Uh,
money. Money gets abstracted out of the gold because of the automation of trust.
huh.
Gold was necessary for the trust factor.
Mm-hmm.
This has been solved with the blockchain technologies,
Yeah.
and because it has been solved with the blockchain technologies, you no longer need gold
Mm-hmm.
as a physical entity, that the single point of truth, right? You
Yeah.
either have gold or you don't have gold. That's what
Correct.
gold standards are, right?
Yeah.
But why do you need gold if you have distributed ledger that does exactly the same thing, and it has a lot more advantages than the gold itself, the physical gold itself,
Yeah.
because it's easy to transfer, it's easy to exchange values, and so on.
Well, pending no one tampers with the ledger in some way, which apparently is difficult. Again, computer programming is beyond my means, so I look at it like those monkeys look at the black
Yeah,
obelisk
yeah,
in the
yeah, yeah,
world
yeah,
in the movie
yeah.
2001. But
Right.
if no one tampers with it, but remember, you can't. No one on Earth can just make gold because it's a basic element. Whereas
Okay. Yes.
maybe somehow, some way, there will be tampering in the crypto universe in the future.
Okay,
So,
so let's address the issue of the tampering. The issue of the tampering exists in the gold industry as well.
oh,
Theft of gold.
yeah, well, yeah, I guess that's one way.
That's a very that's a
The
tampering.
the
Counter
Venezuelans would know a lot about that.
counterfeit of gold. That
Yeah, and that too.
that happens. That's tampering. You there?
Yeah,
Hello?
yeah, I'm here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Counterfeit of gold. That is happening.
Mm-hmm.
The breach of fiduciary responsibilities.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big problem. So you can create any kind of gold-backed monetary system, but then but then the fiduciaries are become the critical point.
Yeah, and
What do
also
you do about
there's
it?
no one. There's also no one stopping any government or organization from lying about how much gold they have. They don't even need to
Exactly.
fake it. They
Well,
could just say, "Oh, we have another 10 tons somewhere." Whatever.
and nobody knows, right? But
Yeah.
because it's heavily guarded. I mean, go check it out, try it.
Yeah.
We know the story with Germany trying to get the gold and so on.
Mm-hmm.
So gold is not a viable solution. Now there is, of course, if we look at the computer industry and the IT industry, the idea that anything is hackable, it's true, but
Mm-hmm.
depends on how you build architecture. If you build architecture in a such a way that there is always point at which your system broke, and you can roll back to that point, you lose some value, some transactions, but then you fix the problem and continue forward.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why the system of global currency is is sustainable.
Yeah.
The system of the blockchain is sustainable. Yes, for the moment it can fail, but it will be fixed and will continue on.
Mm-hmm.
It will be fixed right from the point where it failed. Yes, in a moment, some transactions may get corrupted, may get lost, and so on, and there some damage will be done. But the fork will be made, and the system will continue to live on.
Mm-hmm.
And it's unstoppable. At a certain point, the system will become so difficult to break that the value that you're getting, the resources that you need to spend to break the system become so immensely huge that it's practically impossible. Theoretically,
Yeah.
yes, practically not. But let's say someone broke the system. Like let's say someone's able some genius way still to break the system.
Uh huh.
The whole world gets upset. I mean, because the entire world starts using it, there's no value for anyone to break it anymore.
Ah, that's interesting. Yeah, because then
So
everyone
so
loses.
now you broke the blockchain. You broke the BT, you broke the BTC. BTC got fixed, and you have the rest of the BTC community is chasing you.
For the
Do you
rest of your
want
life.
yeah, do you want to be in that
Uh-huh.
position? Plus, the system is built in a such way that the transactions are traceable. We had a situation with the Ethereum being hacked.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I mean, there is issues with how they fix the problem,
Yeah.
but they were able just to cancel out the hacked tokens and said, forget it. You can have them. So anyway, like the way I see it, uh, like it or not, we are going through this process of abstracting economic concept of the money from the gold, from the material things, and it
Mm-hmm.
becomes the abstraction of itself, living on its own, and very happily subscribing to the economic concept of the money, where the three function is unit of exchange, unit of storage,
Mm-hmm.
sorry, system of exchange, unit of storage, and unit of measure.
Mm-hmm.
So now we are getting into more interesting ideas with the blockchain and with the digital ruble and with the digital money. We're getting into concept of the programmable money. That's very
Well,
interesting idea.
what do you mean by programmable money?
Programmable money was where your I mean, again, we have to jump back to the philosophical or institutional economics concepts. Uh, the concept of the value. How does the value gets created? Like,
Mm-hmm.
what do we measure as a value in the material world? We're not touching right now the social aspect of the value. In the
Mm-hmm.
material world, when you have a handshake, that you
Yeah.
have something very material and I want something from you. So I make an offer, you accept the offer, we handshake, the value got created.
Mm-hmm.
That becomes thing of the value. Now you have to have the instrument over that thing of the value to transfer that value from me to you, and that's effectively the role of the accounting system. And that
Yeah.
accounting system is money, and it has to have those three features, which is it has to be able to account things. It has to be able to store the value, the concept of the value, which is abstracted out from that value that created in the contractual relationships, and it has to be able to operate as an exchange, ability for us to exchange. So that instrument of transacting value, now we have the contractual relationships, and we have the instrument of transacting value that has been created inside of the contractual relationships. Those two things merge together.
Mm-hmm.
So depending on the type of the contract we have, in type of the agreement we can have the special kinds of money that serve that agreement. I will give you a simple example. You're the entrepreneur with the great idea.
Okay.
I want to invest in you,
Mm-hmm.
but I have a doubts about your ability to deliver product on time. I have no doubts your brightness and that you know what you're doing. But I have one little doubt: your ability to deliver on time. We can make an agreement, and we can program our money in a such way that it correlates with our agreements, where it says you have an escrow account $10 million.
Uh-huh.
If you follow the schedule that we agreed on every quarter, you will continue to have $1 million
Mm-hmm.
or $10 million, right? Whatever that number. But if you start slipping in the schedule, that the value, the remaining value that stays on account will start be discounted, lose its value compared to the real currency. So we have created kind of like sub-currencies, right?
Yeah.
From the real currencies, programmable currencies, our private currencies, right? That decay over time, just like futures and options, they have a decay indicator. So this is an example of programmable money that become very specific to the types of business relationship that we have, which allow us to solve us all kinds of business problems. Instead of me giving you deposit $10 million in advance and you're not performing and me chasing you, or vice versa, I am making you the promise, if you do the things on time, I will give you the bonus, and now you're chasing me for the bonus. We can just dynamically program it, and this is the agreement, and this is the concept of the automation of trust. As this is just one use case, and there's plenty of such use cases, especially in transborder trade agreements, where people don't trust each other, they have no idea what's going to happen, and so on. They have to rely on the banks, and then banks become the beneficiary of the transparency of the transaction businesses, and it becomes the problem for the secrecy of the conducting business, and so on and so on.
Now, one
And
quick,
yeah.
Now, one final quick. I just want
ahead.
to talk about a little bit about sort of our overall topic today, about how you mentioned that, like, this whole concept of growth and all that, which, to be honest, even as a child, I always found it weird. It's like, we have to have growth, and I always wondered, why? Why can't things just sit at zero? But that was my child mind. As an adult, I'm kind of curious where this whole then concept of our logic by which we're going to live is going to change. So, for example, right now we live in capitalist Russia, where you go to the store and the store buys a lot of different things to attract people to go to that particular store for those particular prices. Generally, they have too much food and stuff gets thrown away. Whereas in communist Russia, there was state planning, and the store kind of wasn't too worried about attracting anyone. They just sort of put up the food and resources that they had based on somebody's calculations and so on and so forth. So a store in the multipolar economic future, do we have a model for this, or is that something very far away? Because you kind of mentioned how our in some ways we've been sort of, you didn't use the word propagandized, but sort of been propagandized to this sort of consumerist way of living that's probably going to change.
Yeah. So in other words, you ask two questions. One, you ask, why do we need growth?
Yeah.
As a child? It's a great, fantastic question, by the way. And we also have to have, we're at the stage of our development as a humanity. We have to come back and review this question, because, and what is actually growth? Is the growth must be material or maybe immaterial? Maybe social growth, right? The growth of you as a human being in the every social aspect. That may be the most actually precious growth.
Yeah.
Right. And the second question you ask is excess versus necessity.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the growth first. In the most abstract way, we as humans have been designed for growth.
Yeah.
If we stop growing, we stop living. That's existing of life. That's the life does not exist in the still matter. It exists in a dynamics, right? It has to move. The move we achieve when the move exists, there is some kind of growth exists, one way or another. Now I'm speaking a little bit about transcendental values, but it's like we are brought to this world. This is people may agree or may not agree with this. We're brought to this world to take maybe chaos, or maybe not so much chaos, but maybe forms of different shape, then put them through us, this information, and outcome is something of different shape.
Mm-hmm.
That's the most kind of. I apologize for my maybe not so best expressions in English, but
That's
hopefully
okay.
I get my idea across. Now that this we are the kind of this entity that transact through ourselves the information, and then we take that information and convert social and material things into something else.
Mm-hmm.
And it used to be thought that growth only needs in material things. Maybe not used to be thought, but that's what was perceived by the economic forces of the society. The economy is about material growth. We're hitting the new phase where this material growth, like I said before, is no longer the driver. Once you reach certain stage of necessity, that necessity is getting filled, the growth needs to be repositioned.
Mm-hmm.
What is additional value for you? Extra bag of eggs or extra piece of meat?
At this point, nothing.
Nothing, exactly.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, you're reaching we are reaching the value where the additional car has no value to you.
Yeah.
Additional house will have no value, even though right now it may has.
Yeah.
And continue on. And then what does growth means? Are you starting growing?
Mm-hmm.
And the answer is that it seems that we are going to grow in a social through the social system of social values. That's what the real growth is.
Uh-huh. Well, that actually almost lines up with I listened to a fairly long speech by a Romanian Orthodox priest who speaks English, and he essentially said that the model that we should really think about in terms of our needs, he said, needs to be like his refrigerator. He says that he had this really old refrigerator, still, and he said the thing is, it's maybe slightly too small. It's definitely old. It might be a little bit noisy, but it functions. And he said that our problem is that as soon as we would then upgrade to a bigger refrigerator, there might be a new one on the line that has some sort of special feature, and then we're unsatisfied with this one, and we want the next one, and the next refrigerator, and the next refrigerator. And we get stuck in the cycle of wanting the better and better refrigerator, when ultimately the old one meets your needs of keeping your food cold.
Right.
And I think that maybe that's kind of what you're talking about here.
Yes, in many ways, yes. And is it a real growth? That's the question we have to ask.
For that priest, no.
Right. And the reason why we also have to ask very critically this question, because the resources now, the amount of resources we have on the earth is limited. When you look at the world clock, the website, and it shows you all kinds of resources and how quickly we are depleting them.
Yeah.
I was shocked to see that when I was in a high school, or maybe more in the middle school, we were studying in geography that Amazon is the lungs of the earth.
Yeah.
And by now the Amazon has been depleted. I can't remember the exact number, but some staggering 70%,
yeah,
or 80, or some crazy number in the last 70 years.
Yeah.
We can no longer continue to produce things in the way we're currently producing, and consume them in the way we're currently consuming. Mm-hmm. When I came to United States in 1991, I was shocked with the culture of reusable, recyclable dishes.
Yeah.
Back in the Soviet, we didn't have that culture. But that culture now, the recyclable, I mean, yes, it's convenient. Yes, it's quick. Yes, it's cheap. But what does it mean, cheap? How long does it take to grow?
Well, it's cheap for now. Yeah.
Right. Right. The economy doesn't take into account the full price of the producing the
Well, yeah,
fee.
because you may have seen it. Another documentary that I watched was about, I think it was something called like the trash mountains of Manila.
Yeah,
So in the
yeah,
city
yeah.
of Manila, yeah. So essentially, like there's this sort of extremely underclassed, impoverished group of people now who are forced to kind of by hand gather up all the plastic to recycle it the hard way.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is the example. It has to be stopped. Stop for the reasons that in the very near future, in a 10, 15, 20 years, there will be not enough of it. We cannot sustain this level of
Mm,
production and this level of wasteful consumption.
yeah.
So on one hand, we don't have growth. On the other hand, we have real physical constraints of the growth.
Hmm.
So we must change to different ways of producing. And this
Hmm.
is where, again, the blockchain technology comes in. And this is, again, where the concept of the of multipolarity in a way, in a very specific way comes in to play the role. And with automation of trust, the blockchain technology allows you to separate. Now I will speak a little bit more technical terms, but separate business processes from the system of governance. And when you separate business processes from the system of governance, you enable the model of governance to be fully digitalized, and you enable the system of the governance to be fully modeled. And
Hmm.
on top of it, your business processes, when they are separated through the system of the automation of trust from the system of governance, it allows you to distribute them and break them into reusable components. So
Hmm.
the level of reuse through the reusable components on a practical level, it allows you to also break down your system of production on a micro components,
Hmm.
which allows you a much higher level of reusability, and that much higher level of reusability will allow you to achieve multiple axes of jump in efficiency on the same production from the same production
No.
capacities.
And
I,
one
I
thing I'd kind of like
I,
to add.
I know it's a little bit, it's maybe confusing, but the idea is we have to go to um, this component-based architecture with component-based infrastructure with this granularity, and where the blockchain enables the automation of trust, and where you have the ability of uh, quickly uh,
Mhm.
quickly the word is I'm missing сборка и пересборка. How would you say it
Пересборка to,
in
I
English?
don't know, would that reassemble?
Сборка, сборка. Assembly, yeah, quickly
Yeah.
assemble and
There we go. Got that
reassemble
one.
business. Uh, quickly assemble and reassemble things,
Yeah.
and if you get to that structure of the governing structure of organizing business, then you get that jump in the level of efficiency.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to say this.
Well, yeah, and I have to tell you that in some
Go
ways,
ahead.
I can even feel. I think pretty much all of us can feel it, especially. Well, I was going to say my generation. I'm not really sure, but I can definitely tell you one thing that it seems like around the world, the sort of working class person, the more they work, they can't really get anywhere. But now the question that you're raising is, where is this idea of getting somewhere, and do we even need to get there? So it's really interesting what's happening here. Maybe one last mini question because it's time to go. We've already been talking for a long time. I'm eating up your whole evening. But one small question then also is just to be sure. Okay, just to be sure. So we have our going back to our good friends like Bill Gates and Schwab and all them. Generally, their sort of concept for this paradox of having too little resources is essentially having everyone not reproduce or maybe even killing off everyone. It's a question of the number of people on Earth. So how is this more BRICS-like worldview kind of, Mm, what is that ultimate solution? Then it's more of a systemic solution. We don't all need to die. We can have a world that has a lot of people on it. Or is what is their attitude towards that? Because if, especially because remember, if we're gonna go, okay, you're stopping me. Hold on.
Yeah. What happened is I got kicked out, and I last thing I heard is
Ah,
that person is working on his life,
yeah.
and
Oh,
so maybe
okay.
we can,
Oh, so
yeah,
anyways,
maybe.
so yeah, you have a person like especially working class people are sort of working all their entire lives trying to get somewhere. And I'll tell you what, Dmitry, I work a lot, and I live okay, but you know I'm not living that sort of upper middle class fantasy life that I've been dreaming of. But on the other hand, maybe we don't really need to be there. Maybe I'm stuck in the old ways. But anyways, besides my personal frustrations, you know, we hear a lot from this sort of this type of person like your Klaus Schwab. I want to say Charles Schwab, Klaus Schwab, your Bill Gates, these kind of people. That the future is really dependent on there just being way less people. Now, what does BRICS see about this? Because BRICS is also about like traditional culture, the multipolar world, and generally traditional cultures there was certainly a certain type of growth, and it was definitely human growth. So, what is the overall attitude towards population and that in a world of limited resources? You know, because it would seem like for
Yeah.
Russia, the last time I was at the State Duma at a committee hearing, they were like, "We are gonna make it." So there's 500 million people in Russia, and they're real set on that. I don't know if they're going to be able to do it or by what mechanisms, especially because I think the key is probably ideas and propaganda and media, which Russia tends to not be very good at. But anyways, well, ideas good, but not the mechanisms of transferring them. That's my job. But anyways,
Okay.
uh, so what is this? Does this idea of we're going to have 500 million people in Russia? Does this line up with the BRICS future, and that's just fine, or is that just a luxury that Russia has because it's big?
Yeah, I don't know what you're referring to about 500 million people in the idea of having 500 million people in Russia.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, we have about 145 million.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I can answer your question about the two different, uh, again, philosophical ideas of
Mm-hmm.
the future of the world. The one philosophical idea is that automation takes place. We will rely for less of the people
Yeah.
to maintain the system. And as a result of it, we no longer need that many people.
Mm-hmm.
And this goes back to your question: why do we have this rainbow propaganda? Why do we have this genetically modified food that
Yeah.
over long extended period of time, uh, I believe that makes you sick. And the quality of the food,
When you look around the Walmart in America, it does.
it does. You're absolutely right. When you look around in the McDonald's and so on, and why in the most wealthiest countries of the world,
Yeah.
the quality of the food is the poorest. You take the poorest countries of the world, and the quality of the food is I mean, except for the maybe polluted water, is far greater because it's natural.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that the case? Well, the only logical question comes out because we need less people.
Mm-hmm.
The with automation of with the technological advancements, the let's call them the designers of the system, and I don't know who they are, start to be working against the humanity in a ways.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Start destroying this unnecessary. There's a necessary people and there is unnecessary people. Not only not realizing this is the path to nowhere, because the more people you have, the more variety you carry,
Mm-hmm.
the bigger the pool of creativity you have.
Mm-hmm.
And if you start going the path of reducing the pool of the people, you start going the path of reducing the creativity. And when you're going to hit the next level problem,
Yeah.
guess what? You will not find the solution. And this is path to nowhere. So the only way to go forward is to continue to grow in the variety. If for the problems of the beginning of year of the 20th century, we needed one Einstein, and that one Einstein was born out of plus minus, I may be making some mistakes, out of 1 billion people. Now we need, in the future, we need 10 Einsteins, 100 Einsteins, and it's a lot of
Mm.
numbers. You have
Yeah.
to, the more people you have, the more quote unquote Einsteins we will produce. And those Einsteins are required to solve much more serious problems than we had in the beginning of the century. And the answer for multi this is the answer. This is the essence of the BRICS, of the multipolar economy. And uh, the concept, I want to make a comment that concept of the multipolar economy is not fully complete. We think it should be called the economic созидание. I'm not sure how.
Yeah, that's one. Dmitry, I looked for your favorite word there, Sazidania,
Yeah,
and
favorite
unfortunately,
созидание. We don't
there
have
is
it.
no real good translation that creates
Right,
this unique phenomenon in English. It's
right,
all
right,
just
right.
creation, which yeah.
And just for our listeners, why we're just touching on this, the multipolarity does not carry the why do we need multipolarity, it does not carry the meaning of joint vector that gets this multipolar group united together
Mm-hmm.
for the projecting of the future growth.
Mm-hmm.
And but regardless, going back to the original topic, the the multipolarity preserves the variety, preserves the growth of the people, and the idea that counters the idea of the unipolar world with we need lesser people. We actually need more people, because and the question is where those people should be going, what should
Mm.
they do, and they should be used to extending the boundaries of growth.
Mm.
So we have a physical boundaries for growth, and they, while they are removed from the production system,
Mm-hmm.
now they should be refocused on the issue of how can we expand the limits that are imposed on us by the nature.
I see.
That's where they should be used. And that task, if you are in the multipolar, if you're in a unipolar world, and you have subjective goal settings, that task does not exist for you. That requirement does not exist for you, because there will be always enough for you.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And the fact that it's not enough for other, it's not your problem.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have that need to manage that problem. It's a problem of the people who don't have it enough.
Okay.
When you have not subjective unipolar, like the unipolar, but collective goal settings, then you have to account for everyone's interest. Then you have to build the system in a such way that extending the limits of the growth becomes part of your task.
Mm-hmm.
That's the big difference.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why it is so important today to envision and build the future obras. How would you say in English,
Oh,
obras?
obras will be like the model or the vision.
It's not quite vision. Obras.
Obras. Well, the obras is like the Kakim obrazum is like in what way? It's like in what method or.
Obras is it's like when painter draws the the picture, he draws the obras.
Well, yeah, you mean like that would be like the sketch or the layout?
It's more like sketch.
The
It's a full
image?
image is okay word. You're right. We have to visualize. We have to visualize how the this multipolar system of relations should work. And then from that visualization, we have to create the drill down and put more and more details and drill down to the conceptual idea, and then from the conceptual idea down to the actual implementation. This is important, and we're still working on this, on visualizing how this multipolar, and I'm talking in visualizing in engineering way, how this multipolar world where everyone is connected with everyone should operate. We draw a lot from the nature, but now we have to in a deterministic way define that structure in a social environment.
All right. Well, hopefully, we'll be able to do it, and also
Yeah,
because
yeah,
we don't really have much choice, as you put it, anywhere. Anyways, Dmitry, Kosten, thank you very much for being with us. Amazing as always. I hope you guys who want Dmitry to come back are satisfied, because I'm certainly satisfied. Anyways, we'll see you soon in the next episode of Tim Kirby Russia. So anyways, guys, if you enjoyed this video and you like the opinions coming out of my big fat mouth, then join up on my Telegram channel. That's Tim Kirby Hardcore on Telegram. Link, of course, in the description.